Yeah, what's good, Josh? Your man, the Bigga P, and here to share my thoughts on tonight's Showtime card. Um, First of all, when this card was announced, pretty much the whole selling point was Broner, Charlo, Tank versus their opponents. I mean, it wasn't. It basically it was more of what you call a glorified showcase, um, just for all three to they're the excuse me, as they are the one of the more of the marquee stars of PBC slash Showtime, to get out there and show her do their thing. So the card wasn't going to be competitive, all competitive. Well, on paper, it wasn't going to be all competitive depending on how you look at things. But you were trying to, but you were expecting it to at least be entertaining. And what sold some of the more of the entertainment factor was like the whole week with Broner beefing with everyone, beefing with him, beefing with Charlotte beefing with other people. There was just a whole lot of beefing going on, even to Takashi or whatever his name. I don't follow him. I mean, I know who he is because he gets mentioned a little bit too much in all the stuff that I read. Um, beefs and that. I'm like, this isn't even boxing. Yeah, so I think most people would tune in just to see what would actually go down. Well, I mean, I've been to Barclays Center before, and I know the security does not play at all. So I know nothing, So even if anything went to, came to a head, I know, they'll get squashed instantly. Like, no, it's not like, MGM Harbor or the DC Armory. If that type of energy was happening and that's where the fights were being held, I could see some stuff going down very easily in those places. So with that being said, the card, the opener was Javante Tank Davis versus Jesus Quasar. Messed up thing about this fight, it was for the WBA super featherweight title, the super version. But I won't get into my discuss on the whole super regular version. However, the super version is held by Alberto Machado. Like, he was the one, he won the actual title. And all of a sudden, I'm thinking when this fight was okay, it's going to be one of the regular titles and then they're going to merge it. But they actually took the super featherweight title from Machado and actually made it in this fight, which is absolutely absurd. I mean, if I was Machado personally, I'd probably sue the WBA stupid for this, or get some way to get that belt back. But, that's on him. But the fight, I mean, if the fight shouldn't have been for the belt because Quasar, like I said, hadn't fought in like 16 months. I mean, I saw him the last time he fought when he lost to Mars in Los Angeles. And Tank himself is just coming off a fight where he actually lost his belt on the scales. So for this to be an actual belt, it's retarded. It shouldn't have been. However, I did think of all three fights, this fight would probably be the most competitive. I was completely wrong on that aspect. Very, very, very wrong. Um, it was pretty much it was all Tank. Now at the weigh-in, I was waiting for at the weigh-in to see what Tank would actually look like, and he looked good. He made the weight. He looked strong, a little drawn, but nothing too suspicious or anything like that. And it showed. I mean, the hand speed gave him problems. I mean, Quasar only knew one thing, man, just to keep moving forward. And, he caught some fast lefts, some uppercuts, and then the body shots those body shots were humming. Like, put him down in the second round and then put him down in the third round. And then the falling barrage pretty much stopped him. I didn't think Tech would actually. I thought it would actually be more of a grinding type of fight. I thought it'd actually be a slugfest, but I was wrong on that. Tank pretty much treated him well. I mean, Quaid, he was going up to 130. I mean, where he had spent most of his career at 126. So I mean, I guess that you could expect it mostly. Hey, this is what you expect to happen. But Tank now holds the WBA belt, and it's gonna be interesting to see where it's gonna go. I mean, We're gonna go after Lomachenko at 135, or we're gonna start unifying with the other 130 champions, or of course, like I said, the Machado incident. We'll see where that goes. The second fight was for the interim title, the interim WBC middleweight title. Um, Jamal Charlo versus Hugo Centeno. This was the least competitive fight on paper. I did not expect this fight to go this. I thought Charlo would actually win in the middle rounds. Middle late rounds, took him 2 rounds. Centeno, for all his strengths, I mean, he's tall and he's lanky, but he gave up his height too much and decided, he wanted to brawl on the inside and got put to sleep. And prior to that, I mean, Charlo looked like he was bored of the whole thing. I mean, I don't blame him, Alexei, because 160 on the Showtime side is not the most interesting side in the world. You gotta do what you gotta do. So yeah, it was a KO of the year candidate. Knocked him cold. Centeno, go back to the drawing board. Rematch Emmanuel Lean because I want to see that fight again. Charlo now has an interim belt in him, which pretty much means he's the mandatory for Triple G. Now, that's not gonna a fight with him not gonna happen this year. I mean, Triple G has his fight with Vince Martirosyan in about 2-3 weeks, give or take, 2 weeks, and then then most likely Canelo when he gets off his suspension in September. So it's gonna be interesting to see how that's gonna go. I mean, as we all know, the interim title is like basically Triple G doesn't face him, then the belt gets stripped, and Charlo's the WBC middleweight champion. Obviously, I don't want to see a belt earned that type of way, but we'll see how it goes. And then the main event, Jessie Vargas versus Adrien Broner. Now, this fight had all the feel of a do or die for Adrien Broner. As you know, his last fight was a horrible, horrible performance against Mikey Garcia, where he got outworked and literally didn't do anything, didn't really let his hands go or anything. It was terrible that he just lost. He got outworked like that. And then you have Jessie Vargas. I know Vargas. He had his. He has his previous attempts to actually. Outside of him knocking out Saddam Ali to become welterweight champion, he had his setbacks to both Timothy Bradley and then Manny Pacquiao. So and then he had recently came back to the Showtime side after being with Top Rank, and he had a minor fight which he won before this fight. So there was clearly the motivation. This fight was more competitive than I thought it actually would be. Mike McCallum, the great Mike McCallum, the body snatcher, was in Vargas' corner, and I can tell that he had a absolute, he was an influence on what we saw. Vargas for the first 5 rounds was just, the work rate was just incredible. The body shots, the head shots. Broner pretty much was dropping rounds left and right because he just didn't know how to do this. He didn't know how to adapt. And Broner basically got back in the fight when Vargas started to tire. And then afterwards, he started again, he started letting his hands go a little bit more, not as much as he should, to keep Vargas off there. And Vargas showed a chin and a half. Vargas is a tough guy with a chin. He's only been down officially twice and only once from a headshot. And then, it's just, you see, Broner was just and Broner was hitting him at times, he got the best of him on the inside, but it was just Vargas took it. And Vargas manages to catch a slight second win in the championship rounds. And I think, I thought he pulled away with him just slightly. Like a 115, 114 type of thing, or 115, 113 maybe for him. But the judges saw it, 2 of them even, with the 1 winning card going to Broner. It's unfortunate, too, because Jessie Vargas was landing some hellacious shots, but, he doesn't have the heavy hands. And, so it's pretty much one of the things that if he had the heavy hands, he would be able to. He probably would have hurt Broner more. The body work that I'm pretty sure really took some steam took some speed out of Broner because yeah, those body shots was just absolutely hellacious. Um, but it was a more entertaining fight than I expected it to be, and but in a draw, majority draw. For Vargas, it's not a good, it's not a bad thing. For Broner, it's a bad thing, because it's just like, hey, Broner got into another close fight that he didn't win. And, the boos were starting starting the beginning of the fight. And then, of course, Broner went on his usual spiel, and then people were not happy about it. So I was like, where do you go from? And Broner was supposed to face Omar Figueroa. Imagine if Omar has an insane work rate. I mean, Omar, even though he comes in out of condition, has natural work rate. It's incredible. I mean, the guy can go up and got from 135 to going, fighting as a damn light middleweight, and throws it and literally goes like 1,000 punches, 1,100 punches in a fight. He does this pretty often, and then on top of that, Omar has power in his hands. As injured as they are, he has power, and he himself has a chin. If Omar had faced Broner, I honestly think he would have given Broner absolute hell in this fight. He would have been beaten up in this fight. So a rematch probably makes sense, but we're rematching Jessie Vargas. You could be facing someone else, but I mean that's the way it's gonna be. That's the way it's looking right now. Because what are you gonna do with Broner? He can't beat Jessie Vargas. I mean, he's getting harder to sell outside of his usual spiel. So, but anyways, those are my thoughts on the card. Like I said, it was entertaining on paper. It wasn't overly competitive as it should have been. Barring the main event was very competitive, but it was a good night boxing overall. So, till next time, peace.